Hi, welcome to the Gen X Glam and Gab channel here on YouTube. It is great to see everyone, whether it's your first time or you're coming back. Thank you so much for tuning in to my little corner of YouTube where, yes, as you guessed it, I do a little bit of glam and a little bit of gab. Today, we are going to do a healthy, glowy, affordable makeup look, scaled down selection of products. None of these products I ran out and purchased to do for this video. I just did a video which was very long, not gonna lie, very long, but it focused on affordable products, drugstore sort of aisle products from the lower to the mid tier of drugstore that also gave a soft glam look. But now I have scaled it down to 6 or 7 products, and I'm just so excited to get going with this because I feel like, one, it's going to be shorter, and two, I did try to select products that talk to us Gen X ladies that have what I like to refer to as vintage skin. Others may say mature, over 40 or 50. I'm just going to say vintage. Every year, like a good wine, our skin ages a little bit more and more. And I like to say, if you're familiar with my channel, okay, I'm a broken record, but I like to say that my point of doing my makeup, what I have learned over the last couple of years when I started wearing more makeup, because I feel like I had a very natural glowy look through most of my 40s, right? Nothing that I was too concerned about, and needing products to help achieve the look that I didn't already feel like I could give off naturally, right? Not to say I didn't use makeup, I did. I just didn't use a lot of it. And what happens, you know, as the skin ages and gets more vintage, it becomes less elastic, less elastic. I think that's the way to say it. So it's not as tight. Do I want to say it starts drooping? I do not like the word drooping and sagging. So I don't think that that's what we're going to use. It's just less tight, you know, less tight. I'm good with saying it's less tight. It tends to be drier, right? We tend to get our well-earned beauty marks that we aren't necessarily born with, but they come with age. Those fine lines, wrinkles. Who invented that word anyway? You know, just these sort of imperfections that we can't do anything about, right? They come with that vintage aging process. We've earned them. We come by them honestly. So what kind of makeup, and this is like one of the themes of my journey, like what kind of makeup can I find? And granted, yes, I have gone overboard on this journey. I've tried a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons I'm sharing it. And now this far into my journey, I can talk with a little bit more, I am still not a guru, but with more, I don't know, trial and error and tested sort of authenticity. And so that's why in this video, I didn't go out and buy anything new to do this video. I just picked through my collection. I thought if I really had to narrow this down, if I was, and I have recently been lost, luggage lost. What did I buy? That's another video. But if I'm on an island and I want to still have like a little bit of, you know, flexibility and feel a little bit more comfortable in my skin, what products might I use for that? And that's kind of what this video is about. So we're sticking to the affordable line as well. There's no brands that are really going to break the bank in this one. I've already got my skincare down, and I've decided not to do any color corrector. So I'm just going to lean in. I've got an under eye product on, I've got a serum on, and I have a face moisturizer on, but nothing into, what's the term I want? Nothing is, it's all light. Like, it's another theme of this video. I want things to feel lightweight. I want to use products that are flexible, that are perhaps multi-purpose. I can use them in different parts of my face for different purposes. And I'm not, you know, I'm minimizing sort of like, let's go back to the cautionary tale that Barb W shared. Too many new products at the same time. So I am going to use, you know, so then how do you avoid that? You find the products that really work well for you, and you kind of repeat use them, and you rotate them in such a way that you're not bored with your own routine. All right, I do have a little bit of lip oil on. This is passion fruit hydrating lip oil from Burt Bees. I'm just going to reapply that because from when I put it on, my lips were starting to feel, there's like no, one of the things I like about this is there's like no hue to it. It's just hydrating the lips until we are going to do a lippy. I did pick out a lippy. I put so much thought into this video, and this just goes right back to my theory. If you're new to my channel, my weekday videos are grab and go and grind, right? That's what I'm doing. I'm turning on the camera. I'm sharing that with you. I'm sharing like a little bit of vloggy vibe about what's going on in my world. And then on the weekends, I can put a lot more thought. I often reorganize my stuff over the weekends. I just bought some new trays at the drugstore yesterday. I didn't even, not the drugstore, at my supermarket. I just was looking, what was I looking for? I was looking for cat food, and I found this little corner of my store that had these cute little trays, and so they fit perfectly in my drawer, and they were like $2 each. So that was a killer deal. All right, let's get into it because I'm already 5 minutes in and I haven't really done anything, but I did want to set this up. I wanted to talk a little bit about my ladies, my Gen Xers with our vintage skin, but I also want to say this look can apply to a younger skin, less vintage. And I want to say to my younger viewers, you don't have to go overboard, right? I said already, the lane that I traveled on as a young person was a very subtle and conservative lane. Do I feel regretful that I missed out on anything when my skin had a little bit more tightness and lift to it naturally, and less, less flaws, less creases, less little marks? Do I feel like I missed out on anything that I could have been doing these crazy beats? No, I absolutely do not, because I think natural is classic. I think it's classic. That's just me. No judgment. All right, the first product, and I'm going to use this beginning, middle, and end. It's going to be our spray. I said in my last video, if you're watching this real time, if you're not watching this real time, my affordable drugstore video the latest one that I did, I can link it. Why not? I'll link it for point of reference. I said you can use sprays for lots of reasons, right? You can use them for hydration. You can use them because you want the spa spritz, something with eucalyptus or rose or another traditional sort of spa scent that you just want to get that vibe. You can use it to like spray your face so nothing's moving, or you can just use it for like, I don't know, like a quick boost of hydration. Let's take a look at the Milani Make It Last Moisture Boost Spray. This is relatively new to the market. It is new to my collection. I bought it several months ago. It's on Amazon. I will link it. All the products that I'm going to use are going to be linked in my video description. They're my Amazon associate links. So as you know, I may get a small commission, but as I have also shared, I don't think I've earned anything. In fact, the last time I looked, it looked like I owed 40 cents. And then it like made me ponder, like, how could I owe money? Are they going to come get me? Is somebody going to come get me for that 40 cents? Anyway, this is alcohol free. I did a little bit of research. I love weekends for this. 70 to 90% of setting sprays have alcohol in them, okay? This is alcohol free. It's tested here on the back. It says that it's clinically measured to instantly boost skin hydration by an average of 75%. So they did a study. They should do a study. Why does alcohol-free work well with vintage skin? Well, primarily because it doesn't dry it out. And alcohol tends to settle in to those cracks and those imperfections. Alcohol-based sprays tend to settle in to those into our wrinkles and into our fine lines. So we're getting hydration, but yet it's got, and the other ingredients, other skin living ingredients in this thing, and this is all I'm going to say. You're just going to see me use it throughout the video, but I do want to intro it a little bit and say why I picked it. This don't watch me say it, polyglumatic acid glycerin. I looked this up. This ingredient basically is what it's doing is it's pulling moisture back into our skin, and that's what those of us with vintage skin need. We need to keep our skin moisturized, whether that's product we're using to do it, drinking water. Coconut water is great. I love coconut water. Yeah, just what you're eating, like these sorts of things. All right, so that's what we're going. That's our introductory spray. All right, how are we going to get this glow started? We're going to get this glow started with a hero product I've used a million times, also will be linked. The L'Oreal Paris True Match Lumi Glotion comes in at least 4 shades. I use the shade 403 medium. This thing has been around forever, and I'm shaking it up. And lots of gurus use it. I can get this overseas. I can get this here in Sweden, although it's much more expensive. I think it's not super cheap, but sometimes it goes on sale. I want to say this could be in the $15 to $18 price point. What some people do is they squiggle the lines directly on their skin. I think that's actually what we're going to do. So in this video, I'm also going to be careful, not careful, but I am going to highlight where I'm putting this product, why I'm putting it where I'm putting it, and what I'm going to use to blend it. I think what I'm going to use to, what's left here, what I have on here, I'm going to put kind of on my lid area. Did I mention I haven't done any color correcting? I thought let's just not color correct. That goes along the theme with, you know, as our skin ages, we get the dark spots, we get the shadows, we get the discolorations. My skin is no exception. I know, thank you for all of you who typically, why is that word? Come on, give me some credit. You know I'm raw and uncut here. The Gen X Glam and Gab channel. I don't want to use the word typically. Often I get comments from folks like, oh, your skin is so nice. Okay. I do have, like, I don't have a lot of scars, but like this little beauty mark here, I swear to God, it's getting bigger every day. I'm considering having it removed. There was a point, and I was doing this channel. I'm using what's on the back of my hand here to get my neck. You can see, look at, this is the start of the glow. This is the point of this product. It's a non-makeup-y, healthy glow result type of product. You can see why it's a hero product. It is good for all ages. I did a couple years ago, I had like right in my lip contour area some redness that just wouldn't go away. At first I just thought it would go away, and then like I had put up with it for easily close to a year, and then one of my buddies at Shoppers Drug Mart, she told me what it was, something itis, and she's like, oh, you can go to a dermatologist and get that like frozen off. I think that's, so I did, and it's like it hasn't come back, but it's just these dry patches that tend to form on your skin. I think I'm getting one right up here as well, and they don't ever go away. So you do have to go to a dermatologist if you want. And that was an elective beauty choice because it was right, and I wouldn't go to get that one up there. I can live with it, but right in my lip contour area, I was like, no, no, thank you. I don't want that. And so I went. And I'm thinking about this little mole I'm thinking about it, but you never know. Things that aren't natural, they always give me pause. Like, is it natural to have that thing removed? It's not, excuse me, it's not that bad. Anyway, we've already diminished it. I've already sort of like, even with just that Lumi lotion, which isn't putting down a bunch of pigment, it's just giving me a glowy base. It's very nice. All right, let's go into step 2. This one's a super fun one, and we can talk about this because it's often talked about, because it's like a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury's Hollywood Flawless Finish filter. But honestly, a lot of brands, you name it, even the high-end brands, have come up with their own dupes of Charlotte Tilbury's, like, I don't know, filter in a bottle. This is e.l.f.'s version of that, the Halo Glow Liquid Filter Glow Booster for Radiant Skin. I use it in the shade 01, which is light. It has a decent shade range. I'm just going to go in with this directly from, I'm going to apply it from the applicator, and I'm going to, where I want it is I want it in the center of my face. So that's going to be the center of my forehead, sort of my chin, drag it down my nose, and right here in the center of my cheeks. And that's what's going on with the e.l.f. How am I gonna blend it in? I was thinking I'll use my beauty blender. I think I will, but I'm not gonna like I'm gonna try to pat it and diffuse it the best that I can. I wouldn't use a brush for this particular product. I would either use my fingers, which I am going to do at the end, which if you're tracking my channel, I will often do. I like to feel my base after I put it down, especially if I've done it with a beauty blender. So I might start by patting it in like you're seeing me do. And then I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to just lift it all the way up. I know it's a squished effect, right? But even on my forehead, I'm just going to pull it up, always pulling it up, even though I look kind of silly, never really pulling it down. All right, there we go. just, again, that glow in the center of my face. The other products, there is a rhyme or reason to this, to how I've selected this, and I'm doing my best to articulate it. I hope that I'm doing it well. Not doing color correction right in here is kind of like, it's got some natural redness, but I think we can, again, we can keep working with this. We can keep working with our natural imperfections. We're not trying too hard. Don't be a try-hard. Never be a try-hard in all of your endeavors. Just take what your natural God-given talents that you have recognized to have, and use those puppies. Don't sleep on them. Don't be shy. Everybody has natural gifts, okay? There's no sense in being a try-hard. This is just my opinion. I feel like I have to keep saying that. All right, there we go. What have we used? Let's use this again. Let's use the Milani Make It Last Moisture Boost setting spray, because this is a collection, mind you. What's it doing? It's melting in. It's not drying out my skin. There's no alcohol in it if you're just tuning in to this part of the video. Now I'm pressing it in, which, if you track my channel, you see me do this all the time. I do this at work too, and people who don't know me are like, and then I remember I was in this discussion circle. I'm pressing this in. Okay, so just like, we're going off a minute. This is when I was living in Ottawa. I was in a discussion circle, and there was a new person, a new colleague, and we're sitting around, and I'm talking, I'm making my point, and I'm doing this because it was in the morning, so I could still sort of feel, the product on my face. And, and one of the girls goes, "Is she okay?" And another one of the girls goes, "That's just what she does. That's just what she does." And then we went on. So it was kind of funny. All right, so I feel like that's pressed in enough. Now for my eyes today, I'm going to, like I said, if I didn't say, I can't remember if I did, that it's a good idea to like repurpose stuff, right? So if I used this, how I used it, maybe later on in my routine, I might need to touch up somewhere. So maybe I'll find some place that I need a specific glow and I'll go back in with it. That's kind of how like I'm accomplishing my eyes today. All right, I don't have an eyeshadow picked out, spoiler alert, and I'm not really gonna do much with my brows. I never really line my lids, my eyes, or use mascara. So and again, that just goes along with what I have always felt is natural for me. I was not gifted with long, luscious lashes. I'm not going to try hard to get those. I'm going to work with what I got. So, but I do like to comb through my brows, even if I don't mind the shape of my brows. I'm okay with them. They've always kind of been this shape. It's only recently in the past 5 years that I've actually had anything done to them. I have them threaded periodically, which I like as a cleaner than just like plucking or waxing or whatever. All right, so what's our next product? We're gonna warm up our face now with the L'Oreal Lumi Bronzer. I use it in the shade, or I picked out the shade One Copper Bronzer. It's the only one I own. Had it in my collection now for I think a couple of months. It's a relatively new product. And where am I gonna go with it? I'm going to go here on my jawline. It has a bit of a scent to it, so if you're not necessarily digging the scents, then I don't know if this is the bronzer for you, but I do like it. I do think it goes with our glow theme. It's very soft. It's very creamy. Some will argue it has like that cream to powder finish. We're going to go on the cheek. We're going to just do like a little cheeky cheek, and we're going to go up here, the forehead, and I am going to, and on the lids. Like I said, I'm multi-purposing. I'm not going to go down the sides. I'm not going to deal with anything on my nose, because I'm not really trying to sculpt anything here. I'm trying to get some warmth and bronze going on. So I'm going to take somewhat of a fluffy yet dense brush. This is my Sephora brush. So you've got your powder side and your cream side, and we're just going to press it in just a little bit. Like I say, this is giving us some warmth to the skin. I did pick out a blush, and the point of the blush, and I'm trying to blend this up, and the point of the blush is going to be to bring life to the skin, even though I do think, you know, it's not like we're looking like we're not alive here, especially now with this bronzer. You know, it's given me a nice bit of warmth. I'm going to finish with the whole of my hand, right? The whole of my hand, just all around, touching it up. Whole of fingertips just kind of flicking through here. Maybe I will flick a little bit around just to give a little bit of warmth. I think we're glowing, we're looking warm, we're looking glowy, we're looking fresh. I think we look healthy. We don't look like we're trying to, whoopsie daisy, we don't look like we're trying too hard. All right, the next step that we're gonna do is we're gonna use a product that's gonna brighten and balance some of this out. This is my Wet n Wild contouring palette. It's called the Mega Glow. It comes with these shades, which is, I put it in the product description. I think it's Mocha Last, something with mocha. So you see you have your light and you have your deeper contour shades. I've gone through so many of these that I'm starting to hit pan on the lighter side. I've given away these as gifts because I'm telling you they're all $5 and I like a good visual aid. So if you're ever confused, it's a good reminder. So what we're going to use, we're going to use the lighter side, and I'm going to go in and kind of use this like a setting powder, right? Because I did not pick out a setting powder for this video. And why? I'm not saying that setting powders make me feel especially cakey and achy, but they could give off that vibe, you know, if they're overdone. So I decided this is a great 2-in-1. You know, I can get a little bit of depth, which I think I might use a little bit on my lids. Why don't we go in with this deeper shade now? This product here, I'm going to go just above my lid because I have hooded lids. And if you have hooded lids, you know, I've picked up the tip and the trick that with the hooded lids, you sort of want to do your windshield wiper motion above your, you know, above your lids, because that's where it's going to pick up. So that's what we're going to do. I'm still going to use my all over fluffy brush trick. I'm going to go in with this e.l.f. brush. I've talked about this one before. Talk about a multi-purpose brush. It's dense, and so I used a fluffy brush to apply it, but I'm going in with sort of a denser brush to just sculpt it the way that I want it and drag it out a little bit to my temples. Okay, we're not looking for big transformation. We're not. We are looking for the healthy, fresh, glowy, sort of soft glam look that's going to be perfect. It's perfect for any day, and it's perfect for the summer. Now, where am I going to hit this lighter? I'm going to take sort of a fluffy angled brush, and I'm going to, again, like I like this because it doesn't have the fallout. I'm going to go back sort of in the center of my face and a little bit underneath my eyes with it. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to hit up my forehead too, underneath my eyes with it. On the chin, much like we did with the e.l.f. Halo Glow filter in a bottle. I'm keeping it in the center of my face. This step is brightening, and it's balancing out all of that glow. And I want to say again, like there's a distinction between glow. I'm going to use the thicker end that we used, that I used with the Lumi stick. There's a distinction between glow and sparkly or glittery. We don't want sparkly or glittery. Not going for that. Not going for that. All right, now let's go in with the blush. We're going to use the Milani. This is also relatively new to my collection, but I bought it while I was in Florida a couple trips ago. As you know, if you may know, I live in Stockholm, Sweden, but my last 2 trips, I did a trip in January to Florida, and then in March, I did a trip to Las Vegas. And in Vegas, I didn't buy a lot of makeup, only the makeup that I bought to replace when my luggage was lost for 4 days. And I did have a little bit of starter stuff on me. I think I shared that. I had some mini skincare things that I had because, you know, they make it through airport security, like the little couple of whatever. So on the trip to Florida, I bought the Milani baked blush. I also bought the CoverGirl Skin Enhancer. Those were like the two like late 25, early 26 drops of blush that everybody's talking about. We're talking about, have been talking about. What I like about this is that it's going to give us, we're going to use a domed, fluffy brush for this. You do not want a dense brush for this. What I like about it is it's not super highly pigmented. I'm not a big fan always of highly pigmented. Oh, by the way, I have the window open. Do you think YouTube is going to give me a strike for the birds? Do you think the birds are going to be like, copyright me, please? So if you've been hearing like birds and air and stuff, it's because I have my window open. I'm actually hoping my cat Xena will jump through the window. She has jumped out my window, but I'm waiting for her to jump in the window. And then they're cooking out there in the kitchen, the invaders, but they said they would try to be quiet. Anyway, back to this Milani Bake Brush. I have it in the shade Petal Primavera, but in the description when I list this blush, I am going to link my Amazon associate link to I think it's like a rose latte, because I actually think that rose is much prettier and I wish I would have gotten that one, but the Petal Primavera is not bad. Again, not highly pigmented. We're going to go high. We are going to go high. I'm staying away from my nose. I'm going to go high and I'm going to blend up by my temple, and that's where I'm going with that. This is trying to give life to the face. I'm going to go on my forehead too with what's left. Like a kind of like a flushy flush, but not necessarily rosy cheeks. It's to liven up, just a pop of color to liven up. There it is. And again, in this case, I blended up far up towards my temples, which you don't always see me do. But I do it. I do it. So oftentimes I'll go like right in here. And sometimes I do feel there's a time and a place to even get my blush that far close in. But when I do that, it's usually a blend that's going all the way up. So in this case, I took my Milani and I started kind of from here and I went all the way up because I feel like you can still see it down there. I went more in the center of my chin with that Lumi, with the Lumi stick, and we are gonna and powdered it up with the lighter contour from there. All right, so what's left? I almost never ever have I ever. No, I have ever. I almost never use a highlighter. There's a time and a place for it. Faux show, but I am going to go in, if I do use a highlighter, and I can tell you when I got this one out, this is from She Glam. It's in Vanilla Frost. You can get it on Amazon. I'll link it. It is almost gone. When I look into this thing, I'm like, dang, it's lasted me a while. I like it a lot. I am going to repurchase it. This comes in other shades. I don't want a ton of it, but when I do go for a highlighter, I do not mind this one. I don't know, I'm looking for the right brush. This is an e.l.f, more of like an eyeshadow brush, but I just want to, and that's where I was thinking of putting it, like right kind of on the lids. Remember, I said I have the hooded lids. So what I did with the hooded lids is I went above it with my warmth, with my deeper shade from the Wet and Glow, Mega Glow, Wet and Wild palette, and with the She Glam highlighter, I'm gonna kind of go on my lids with it. My hooded lids that people can't always see, hence they're hooded. And it's just gonna give like a little pop, maybe like even on the inside too. Just like a little bit of a glow. Again, I'm not trying too hard here. A little bit of a glow right there. I recommend doing, if you can, like I could place this with my finger. I don't need to use the brush. I'm using this brush as mainly a way to keep it so like I am reining myself in. So look, now I got the Rudolph nose, which I did not want. So let's try to go back in with our powder and just try to like literally powder our nose. I'll go back down the nose with that. Gonna go back in. You know, I'm not a big fan of highlighter. I told you that. But I do not mind this one from She Glam, and it's affordable. And you can strategically place it where you want, whether you have vintage skin, whether the age of your vintage skin, it can be strategically placed wherever you'd like. And it tends to not overdo it. Like you've noticed, I haven't had to course correct on much. I haven't overdone thankfully, anything. This is like kind of getting, I'm going to pat in that spray. You can pat in that spray. I'm not picking up too much on this beauty blender, first of all, because this is a dry beauty blender. It's dry. So I'm just patting that in, patting that rehydration. Yet it does, even though it's alcohol free, it is still setting. Let's just go in and touch up around, move it all around. I think we could do a tiny bit more on the blush, like let's assess. Remember, I've said before, your last step should be assessing. Make sure that you're happy with what you've achieved. All right, the last thing is we're going in with this lippy. I've chosen this lippy. It's from Maybelline. I bought this over a year ago. I don't use it all that often. I have used, when I got it, I used it. Now I'm assessing, I'm adjusting with my fingers, which I so often do. There, perfect. Perfect. Nothing's perfect, but it's good enough. Maybelline Lifter Gloss. I think it dropped last summer. Yeah, it's maybe not. Maybe it's a little, maybe it was before last summer. Anyway, what's the great thing about this? It's hydrating, it's non-sticky, it has a great shade range. I've got Gummy Bear, it's in the shade 021, and I'm not gonna line my lips. I'm just gonna put this on. It's gonna give us a nice shiny finish, tiny little light pop of color, which I think is very youthful. And it's not sticky. Like I said, it's not sticky. And it's hydrating. It has hyaluronic acid in it. It says it right here. Plus hyaluronic acid. And that tends to be a hydrating product. There you have it. I hope it was fun. I hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments. I've tried my best to give you a nice little product link. I don't know if I'm going to do timestamps because I don't think it's really necessary to do any timestamps. You know, I tried to keep it moving for you. Try to take my time and show things and, I don't know, give my spiel where necessary. So now I'm going to sign off. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're well. I'm going to go run a few errands, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.